profound exploration of human behavior in the pursuit and maintenance of influence. We will examine these principles as observations of power dynamics, encouraging critical understanding rather than blind adherence. We begin our journey into the 48 Laws of Power, a compelling work by Robert Greene. This text serves as a field manual, illustrating how power truly operates in various settings, from corporate boardrooms to political arenas. It's essential to view these laws as observations, not endorsements, recognizing the strategic game without necessarily participating in it. Our exploration starts with Part 1, Mastering Your Own Emotions and Hiding Your Intentions. Law 1, Never Outshine the Master, emphasizes the importance of making superiors feel superior, as flaunting one's talents can inspire fear and resentment. A brilliant young designer, for example, found his promotion blocked for 2 years after constantly correcting his CTO's technical mistakes, while a less skilled colleague who praised the CTO's vision was fast-tracked. This illustrates the critical role of managing perceptions and ego in hierarchical structures. Next, Law 2. Never put too much trust in friends. Learn how to use enemies suggests that friends can become envious and expect favors, whereas former enemies, once won over, often prove more loyal due to their need to prove themselves. A CEO who hired her former rival as head of sales saw him deliver record numbers, driven by a desire to prove loyalty, while a longtime friend leaked company secrets. This underscores the complex dynamics of trust and loyalty. Finally, Law 3, Conceal Your Intentions, advises keeping people off balance by hiding your true purpose, making misdirection a key tactic. A politician, for instance, publicly campaigned on infrastructure repair while secretly building a donor network for a higher office run. Rivals focused on attacking her fake platform, only realizing her true goal when her funding and endorsements were already secured, demonstrating the power of strategic ambiguity. Continuing our exploration, Law 4, Always Say Less Than Necessary, highlights that excessive speech increases the likelihood of saying something foolish, while silence and vague communication project an aura of power. During a tense merger negotiation, an executive who spoke for 20 minutes revealed desperation, while the opposing side simply stated, "We'll consider it," ultimately securing better terms by maintaining their inscrutability. This demonstrates the strategic advantage of restraint in communication. Law 5. So much depends on reputation. Guard it with your life, asserts that reputation is a powerful weapon, crucial for both undermining rivals and building an impenetrable shield for oneself. A restaurant owner facing false Yelp reviews countered not by arguing, but by posting videos of her clean kitchen and inviting food critics, transforming a smear campaign into a stronger reputation as an honest establishment. This illustrates how proactive defense can fortify one's public image. Law 6, Court Attention at All Cost, suggests that being ignored is worse than being attacked, advocating for standing out through boldness, eccentricity, or even scandal. An unknown musician, for example, gained viral fame and a record deal by wearing a paper bag over his head at a talent show, proving that obscurity was the true adversary. This emphasizes the power of spectacle in gaining recognition. Law 7, Get others to do the work for you, but always take the credit, advises leveraging others' skills and time to gain glory while they bear the exhaustion. A law firm partner, for instance, assigned a junior associate to a complex case, then presented the findings to the client as his own, securing a huge bonus. While the associate received a thank you email, this dynamic can lead to resentment and future withholding of crucial information. Finally, Law 8, Make other people come to you. Use bait if necessary, focuses on luring opponents into acting first, thereby controlling the strategic battlefield. A military commander feigned a weak left flank, drawing the enemy into a trap where they were surrounded on 3 sides, achieving victory without losing a single unit. This highlights the effectiveness of strategic provocation. Moving forward, Law 9, Win through your actions, never through argument, posits that arguments breed resentment, making it more effective to demonstrate your point through deeds. When 2 software engineers argued for weeks about architecture, one stopped talking, built a working prototype over the weekend, and presented it on Monday, allowing the code to speak for itself and rendering further argument unnecessary. This underscores the persuasive power of tangible results. Law 10, Infection. Avoid the unhappy and unlucky, warns that emotional states are contagious, advocating for surrounding oneself with cheerful and successful individuals. A startup founder who hired her pessimistic best friend as COO saw the team adopt a defeatist attitude, leading to key employees quitting and investors pulling out, illustrating the detrimental impact of negative associations. Law 11, learn to keep people dependent on you, emphasizes making oneself indispensable so that no one can move against you. An IT administrator, the sole expert on a company's legacy database, survived layoffs not due to popularity, but because firing him would crash the entire system, allowing him to quietly negotiate a raise. This demonstrates the leverage gained through critical expertise. Lastly, Law 12. Use selective honesty and generosity to disarm your victim, suggests that a single sincere act can effectively disguise many dishonest ones, with a small gift often buying loyalty. A ruthless CEO, for example, publicly donated $10,000 to an employee's medical fund, generating positive headlines. Months later, when she laid off 200 workers, the same employees hesitated to criticize her, believing she's not all bad, showcasing the power of strategic benevolence to mitigate negative perceptions. We now transition to Part 2, Master Strategy and Appearances, which delves into how to navigate power dynamics through calculated actions and managed perceptions. Law 13, when asking for help, appeal to people's self-interest, never to their mercy or gratitude, advises against reminding others of past favors, instead focusing on how helping you will directly benefit them. A salesperson seeking a client introduction from a senior colleague framed her request by explaining how the deal would boost the entire department's bonus, securing immediate cooperation. This highlights the effectiveness of aligning requests with others' personal gains. Law 14, pose as a friend, work as a spy, suggests gathering crucial information through casual conversation to uncover an opponent's weaknesses. A journalist, befriending a politician's assistant at a bar, casually learned about a secret offshore account, which subsequently led to a breaking story, demonstrating the power of discreet intelligence gathering. Law 15, crush your enemy totally, warns that a wounded enemy will always seek revenge, emphasizing the need to leave no escape. A corporate raider, upon taking over a rival company, not only fired everyone, but also sold patents and dissolved the brand, ensuring the founder had no platform to retaliate and faded into irrelevance. This illustrates the ruthlessness required to neutralize threats completely. Law 16, use absence to increase respect and honor, posits that scarcity increases value, and withdrawing oneself can make one more desired. An influencer who stopped posting for 3 weeks saw her followers panic and beg for her return, tripling her engagement upon her comeback, proving that absence can indeed be profitable. Finally, Law 17, keep others in suspense, cultivate an air of unpredictability, suggests that humans seek patterns, and acting randomly can unsettle rivals. Continuing our exploration of strategy and appearances, Law 17, keep others in suspense, cultivate an air of unpredictability, suggests that humans seek patterns, and acting randomly can unsettle rivals. A poker player, for instance, sometimes bluffs on weak hands, and sometimes folds on strong ones, making him unreadable to opponents. After hours of confusion, they make desperate mistakes, allowing him to clean out the table. This highlights the strategic advantage of disrupting expectations. Law 18, do not build fortresses to protect yourself. Isolation is dangerous, warns that barricades can make you a target, emphasizing that mixing with the world and gathering information is your best defense. A CEO who worked from a locked office, ignored employees, and canceled town halls had no idea his own board was plotting against him, ultimately being fired at a meeting he didn't even know was happening. This illustrates the perils of self-imposed isolation and lack of intelligence. Law 19, know who you're dealing with. Do not offend the wrong person, advises picking your battles carefully, as some enemies are too dangerous to provoke. A young lawyer who mocked an old, quiet opposing counsel in court, unaware that the older lawyer was best friends with every judge in the district, subsequently never won another case. This underscores the importance of understanding the true power and connections of your adversaries. Law 20, do not commit to anyone, advocates for staying independent and avoiding being used for others' causes. A consultant who worked for 2 rival companies with both aware of her dual engagement, maintained her expertise and leverage by never signing exclusivity. When one side turned hostile, she simply walked to the other office, demonstrating the power of non-commitment. Lastly, Law 21, play a sucker to catch a sucker. Seem dumber than your mark, suggests letting others feel clever to reveal their true intentions. A used car dealer, pretending not to know the value of a classic Porsche, prompted the seller to reveal his urgent need for cash, allowing the dealer to offer half the already low price, which the seller accepted. This illustrates the effectiveness of feigned ignorance in negotiation. We now move into Part 3, Offensive and Defensive Power, exploring tactics for both asserting dominance and protecting oneself. Law 22, use the surrender tactic. Transform weakness into power. Advises yielding when cornered, as surrender can buy time and turn aggression into complacency. A startup that lost a patent lawsuit, instead of appealing, publicly apologized and offered to license the technology. The winner, satisfied, dropped its guard, only for the startup to buy the winner's entire company 2 years later, demonstrating how strategic retreat can lead to ultimate victory. Law 23, concentrate your forces, emphasizes not scattering energy, but focusing on one powerful move. A student who studied 8 subjects poorly failed all, while another student dropped 6 subjects to focus on 2, acing both and earning a scholarship. This illustrates that concentration consistently outperforms diffusion. Law 24, play the perfect courtier, focuses on mastering the art of flattery, grace, and subtle manipulation within hierarchical settings. A junior executive, for example, never directly disagreed with her boss. Instead, she would say, "That's brilliant. May I offer a small detail to make it even more brilliant?" The boss would adopt her idea as his own and subsequently promote her, showcasing the power of indirect influence. Law 25, recreate yourself, encourages forging a new identity and becoming the master of your own image rather than accepting societal roles. A former convict, moving to a new city, changed his name and became a successful life coach, never mentioning his past. His clients knew only the confident Marcus, a self-made individual, highlighting the transformative power of self-reinvention. Finally, Law 26, keep your hands clean, advises using pawns to do your dirty work, allowing you to appear noble while others take the blame. Continuing our discussion on offensive and defensive power, Law 26, keep your hands clean, advises using pawns to do your dirty work, allowing you to appear noble while others take the blame. A hospital administrator wanting to cut nursing staff hired a consultant to recommend the cuts. The consultant was then fired, and the administrator was praised for accepting the difficult report, effectively deflecting blame. This illustrates the strategic use of intermediaries to maintain a clean public image. Law 27, play on people's need to believe to create a cult-like following, suggests offering hope, a cause, and a scapegoat as people crave certainty. A fitness influencer, for instance, claimed a secret ancient grain cured all diseases, selling bags of regular quinoa for $500. When critics attacked, she labeled them corporate shills, causing her followers to believe even harder, demonstrating the power of narrative and belief. Law 28, enter action with boldness, asserts that hesitation repels while audacity attracts, urging one to err on the side of aggression if an error must be made. When 2 entrepreneurs pitched the same investor, one stammered with uncertainty, while the other confidently declared, "This will triple your money." The bold entrepreneur secured the investment, highlighting the persuasive force of conviction. Law 29, plan all the way to the end, emphasizes thinking through all consequences, as the ending matters more than the journey. A general who won every battle but failed to plan for winter saw his army freeze, allowing the enemy, who had lost battles but planned for snow, to counterattack and win the war. This underscores the critical importance of foresight and comprehensive planning. Lastly, Law 30, make your accomplishments seem effortless, advises hiding your hard work, as success appears godlike when it seems easy. A musician performing a flawless piano piece was perceived as a genius by the audience, who remained unaware of the 10,000 hours of bleeding fingers and failed practice sessions behind the performance. This illustrates that effortlessness is a carefully crafted performance. We now transition to Part 4, Advanced Psychology and Protection, which explores deeper psychological tactics and defensive strategies. Law 31, control the options, get others to play with the cards you deal, suggests giving people choices, but ensuring all options lead to your desired outcome. A parent, for example, asked a toddler, "Do you want to brush your teeth now or in 2 minutes?" The child felt in control, yet the teeth were brushed either way, demonstrating how to guide decisions subtly. Law 32, play to people's fantasies, advises promising the impossible, as people often prefer a beautiful lie to an ugly truth. During the Great Depression, a political candidate promised a car in every garage and a chicken in every pot. Despite economists deeming it impossible, voters didn't care, and he won in a landslide, illustrating the power of appealing to desires over reality. Law 33, discover each man's thumbscrew, focuses on identifying and exploiting everyone's weaknesses, whether insecurity, greed, or vanity. A negotiator, learning her counterpart was vain about his watch, complimented it. As he preened, she asked for a discount, and flattered, he gave her 20% off, revealing his vanity as his thumbscrew. This highlights the effectiveness of psychological leverage. Law 34, be royal in your own fashion. Act like a king to be treated like one, asserts that demeanor determines treatment, advocating for carrying oneself with dignity and entitlement. When 2 interns applied for the same job, one said, "I hope you'll consider me," while the other confidently stated, "I'm the best person for this role." The second intern was hired before the first finished her sentence, demonstrating the impact of self-perception and projection. Finally, Law 35, master the art of timing, emphasizes never rushing, but waiting for the opportune moment to strike without warning. Continuing our discussion on advanced psychology and protection, Law 35, master the art of timing, emphasizes never rushing, but waiting for the opportune moment to strike without warning. A boxer, for instance, danced around his opponent for 10 rounds, doing nothing, until the opponent grew bored and dropped his hands. In the 10th second of the final round, the boxer landed a knockout punch, having patiently waited for his moment. This illustrates the immense power of strategic patience. Law 36, disdain things you cannot have. Ignoring them is the best revenge, posits that acknowledgement gives power, and contempt starves your enemies. When a celebrity was publicly insulted by a minor actor, she chose not to respond. The media forgot the insult quickly, and the minor actor, starved of attention, faded into obscurity. This demonstrates the effectiveness of denying attention to those who seek to provoke. Law 37, create compelling spectacles, suggests that grand gestures and symbols impress more than words or logic. A startup, instead of a press release, launched with a giant inflatable robot on its office roof. News crews showed up, investors called, and despite the silliness, the spectacle worked, highlighting the power of visual impact. Law 38, think as you like but behave like others, advises hiding nonconformist ideas and maintaining outward conformity to disarm suspicion. A revolutionary living in a dictatorship publicly praised the leader while privately organizing dissent. When secret police searched for loud protesters, the quiet conformist was overlooked, showcasing the protection offered by blending in. Lastly, Law 39, stir up waters to catch fish, suggests that anger and emotion cloud judgment, and making your enemies act irrationally can be a powerful tactic. A debate moderator, after asking a calm candidate a neutral question, provoked the opponent with, "Why do you hate America?" The opponent exploded with rage, allowing the calm candidate to win without saying a word. This illustrates how emotional manipulation can lead to strategic advantage. Moving into the final set of laws, Law 40, despise the free lunch, warns that what appears free is often a trap, advocating for paying your own way to maintain freedom from obligation. A journalist who accepted a free luxury vacation from a PR firm later felt trapped when the firm requested a small favor, a positive story about a shady client. The vacation ultimately cost more than money, illustrating the hidden costs of perceived generosity. Law 41. Avoid stepping into a great man's shoes, advises against following a legend, instead urging you to create your own path and change the standard of comparison. A coach replacing a championship-winning legend rather than copying her predecessor changed the entire playing style. Fans then compared her to herself, not the ghost, and she won her own championship, demonstrating the power of forging a unique identity. Law 42, strike the shepherd and the sheep will scatter, posits that removing the leader will cause the group to collapse. A union organizer, secretly recorded accepting a bribe, saw the recording leak. Without their leader, the union strike fell apart, and workers returned to their desks, defeated and leaderless. This highlights the vulnerability of groups dependent on a single figurehead. Law 43, work on the hearts and minds of others, suggests bribing people emotionally by appealing to their inner child, fears, or desires. A manager, wanting her team to work late, didn't order them but brought pizza, played their favorite music, and said, "This reminds me of college study nights." The team happily worked late, showcasing the effectiveness of emotional persuasion over direct command. Finally, Law 45, preach the need for change, but never reform too much at once, acknowledges that people fear sudden change, advising to introduce novelty slowly under the guise of tradition. Concluding our exploration, Law 45, preach the need for change, but never reform too much at once, acknowledges that people fear sudden change, advising to introduce novelty slowly under the guise of tradition. A new principal, wanting to ban phones, first limited them to lunch, then hallways, then lockers. By year-end, students didn't remember phones were ever allowed, demonstrating the power of gradual implementation. Law 46, never appear too perfect, warns that envy is silent but deadly, suggesting that showing a minor flaw can prevent resentment. A top salesperson, always winning, found her colleagues resented her. She started accidentally misspelling one word in every email, leading her colleagues to smile and think, "See? She's human." The resentment evaporated, illustrating the strategic value of controlled imperfection. Law 47, do not go past the mark you aimed for. In victory, know when to stop, cautions that overreaching undoes success, urging one to stop before triumph turns to hubris. A company winning a lawsuit against a smaller rival instead of bankrupting them offered a settlement. The rival accepted and years later became a valuable partner, showing the wisdom of stopping while ahead. Lastly, Law 48, assume formlessness, posits that having no fixed shape means no one can attack your strategy, advocating for adaptability. A guerrilla army, for example, never holds territory. They attack, disappear into the jungle, become farmers, then attack again. The superior force cannot defeat what it cannot find, proving that formlessness ultimately wins. You've now seen the map of these laws. The decision to walk this road or simply understand its traps is yours. Stay aware, stay curious, and remember that observation is not endorsement. Thank you for joining this exploration. In summary, the 48 Laws of Power offer a stark, unvarnished look at the mechanisms of control, manipulation, and survival in various social and professional arenas. By understanding these dynamics, we gain insight into human nature and the strategic interplay of power, enabling us to recognize and navigate these forces more effectively. The ultimate goal is awareness, not necessarily participation, in the game of power.